Hello everyone and welcome back to another episode of Hearthstone Ladder Climb. My name is Ikkaris, this is Ikkaris Gaming, and today we are back with episode 17 of our series where we are reviewing my Hearthstone gameplay as I try to climb all the way to Legend. Now we're sticking with our little bit of a detour onto our Subject 9 Hunter. If you watched the last video, you can kind of see what goes wrong. You can kind of run out of steam pretty quickly, especially if you don't get Subject 9 when you need it. So we're hoping for a better result in this game. So we're matched up against Warrior. You can pretty safely assume right now that if anybody's running Warrior on ladder, probably going to be Odd Warrior or some kind of variation on Control Warrior. Where they're just going to try to armor up, have a lot of removal, a lot of board clear, and try to outlast you, especially with the new Dr. Boom Mad Genius card that came out with the new expansion. Get a ton of value and sustain off of that card. So we want to keep that in mind. And we can see it's actually not Odd Warrior, which is kind of rare. But, you know, we go and we play the Dire Mole turn 1. There's the Slam. Little card draw for him. We're not too concerned about it. You know, now we can play Crackling Razormaw. Synergizes with the Dire Mole with the Beast synergy. We have a little bit of a choice here. On second review, I might give it Death Rattle Summon 1/1, 2/1/1 plants, and we'll see what I do. I might have gone give it +1, or actually I think I gave it +3 attack just to put a little extra pressure on to try to burn through that armor because. Or to burn through any potential armor. So it kind of makes him have to, forces our opponent to deal with it right now. Or, we're going to be able to punch him for quite a bit of damage early in the game.
Out of my jungle.
Stonehill Defender. So again, this is where, this is like our opponent needs to deal with this. So now we have a choice. We can go Eaglehorn Bow, use that to hit the Stonehill Defender along with the Crackling Razormaw to clear it off the board and then punch him for the 4 damage with the Mole, which is what we do. The other option there could have been play the second Razormaw and hope for another buff or something to give our Mole more health, but we decided to go with that play. You can see I kind of put up the oops emote. It's not the optimal play. On review, I would probably play the second Razormaw into that if I were to do this again. But now we have a Tar Creeper on the board, but we've got Flanking Strike, so now we go for the Crackling Razormaw. And again, this is a thing where I might be thinking, on second thought, I think it might have been better, the better play might have been here to use the Flanking Strike and Razormaw into the Tar Creeper instead of the second, instead of playing the second Razormaw to clear that minion off the board. But that's the purpose of this series. We're taking a look, seeing what we can do better, and learning from our games. Here comes the Reckless Flurry. Now this is a little, in my opinion, this is a little premature. Usually you'll see, and now we get the Subject 9 perfectly on turn 5. This is exactly what you hope for. When you play this deck, this is huge. Fills our hand up with secrets, gives us a 4/4 body on the board, and we're in good shape now. But again, as I was saying, I think that was a little premature for the Reckless Flurry. You can only run 2 of them. And there wasn't that much, really wasn't that much danger on the board to him. So I think that was a little bit of a misplay by our opponent. Now this turn now we have a great hand with the Spellstone in hand. We can start playing all kinds of secrets now. It'll buff up the Spellstone for our next turn, and it buffs up our Secretkeeper, which is huge. We're just kind of deciding which secret to play, the Venomstrike Venom Trap. to give us an extra minion on the board, a 2/3 Poisonous Cobra, which is a great card. We avoid the Acolyte of Pain. We don't want to give him any more card draw. Out comes the Dry Whisker Armorer. And again, when I'm watching this gameplay, it's kind of strange that he's not running Odd Warrior, because all these cards are typically what you would see in in an Odd Warrior, Control Warrior setup. It's a little bit puzzling, but that's okay. So now we're thinking about the Emerald Spellstone. Do we do that? Do we play Flanking Strike? Do we play Beastmaster? We opt to go for one more secret and then drop the Spellstone, giving us 4 3/3 wolves. And this is terrifying when it happens against you, and especially if you don't have any board removal. We can assume that our opponent is going to have Brawl or another Reckless Flurry, another Armor Up with the Hero Power, and then a Reckless Flurry would be pretty devastating at this point. But we're kind of taking a risk, and now we can see the Warpath, and he has exactly the ability to clear our board, which is a little bit unfortunate, but it does force him to use it. That's a valuable removal tool gone. And unfortunately, he was using the Acolyte of Pain there to get some extra card draw. But we are still in pretty good position. Our opponent's was down to 16 health. Now it's up to 22. But with the Weapons Project triggering Wandering Monster and the Venomstrike Trap, we're not too bad. We still have the 2/3 Cobra on the board, and a bunch of secrets to play. We now have a weapon as well. So again, we're probably thinking Secretkeeper here, playing a few traps. Play the Freezing Trap, buff our minion up, Hero Power, and then we're gonna go base with the weapon. And now our opponent's back down to zero armor. So it's going to be tough for our opponent here to armor up Reckless Flurry. 2 damage doesn't really help him. He can get rid of 1 or 2 of the minions, or one of the minions, and then you see here he uses the weapon and execute combo. And here comes the Dr. Boom Mad Genius card. This can be pretty tough to play against, and for me, Warrior right now is one of my least favorite classes to play against, because they just have so much control and the games take so long and can be quite boring. So that's kind of annoying. But we play the Animal Companion, buff it up with Houndmaster, and we're just going straight up face now. It's kind of a race to just end this game. We're hoping that our opponent doesn't have much in the way of removal. But we do still have value with Deathstalker Rexxar. We've got a little bit of value and sustain there. The 3/1/1 Microbots doesn't really help, especially when I have the Freezing Trap. He can only do 2 damage. So, and he can't attack it with his weapon. He can't attack our Huffer, of course, unless he has Execute. But that also triggers our Rat Trap. At least I think it does. I thought it did. And out comes a second Weapons Project, along with the shield block. And again, this is why Warrior can be so frustrating to play against, because there's just a ton of armor gain, especially with the Dr. Boom Mad Genius. It can be rather annoying. Luckily, we have another Houndmaster, and it gives us perfect lethal. We were able to buff up the Rat, use the Houndmaster, Hero Power, and use his own weapon against him. So that's how playing this deck can go right. We did have quite a few losses on it. So coming up next, we're gonna we swapped it up and we're gonna be playing Even Shaman. So tune in for the next one. We'll be playing Even Shaman.